Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn show, man. Today is January the 2nd. My apologies. And this is the ChrisBeCappinn show, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. Happy New Year, all that good stuff. Yesterday, I did take the day off. Didn't really enjoy, the car. And then just wanted to kind of reset, too. Got a lot of stuff done, just to mentally prepare for the new year, physically prepare for the new year. So, yeah, we're back with NBA today. Bunch of games. I got a couple official plays that I'm gonna share. A little bit newer of a setup as well. Got a chance to go through some stuff yesterday and kind of just tweak some stuff as far as my setup goes, all that good stuff. So, yeah, we're gonna jump into it for today, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in as always. Let's jump into it. So I didn't do a show on yesterday, the day before. Which was, what was the day before? Today's Friday. So on Wednesday, New Year's Eve, I placed my faith in the Pelicans. Probably never do that again as a favorite. They end up giving up 30 points every quarter, lose the game outright. Wasn't even close against Chicago Bulls, even though Chicago was severely shorthanded. So that was a loss. And then I bet Charlotte on the live right before the game started between them and the Golden State Warriors. First half plus the 4.5, and I think it was Jimmy Butler who hit some late free throws to push it over to 5. And so that ended up being a loser by half a point as well. Need to do a little bit better. We had went 2-0 the night before that. Kind of gave a little bit of it back. But yeah, I got a couple plays that I want to share with you guys today. So we're going to jump right into it, man. We're going to jump right into it for today. If you see me looking up, I did kind of readjust my monitors as well. Kind of put them up a little bit higher so I can see multiple screens at the same time a little bit easier. So with that being said, good morning, Algina. She says, good morning, Chris and chat. Let's get the bag. A lot of NBA games today. Let's find some decent winners. Need that. What up, Vario? He says, what has the day come to? I'm thinking about betting the Brooklyn and Wizards game. I thought about it. I don't think I'm going to put myself through that misery though, Vario. But we will talk about it. We can talk about it. Good morning, Brian. He says, hope you had a great New Year's Day. Your handicap yesterday was super helpful. You're doing a great job. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's find it today. Appreciate that. Good morning, Jay Hank. What's up, Lightbear? Appreciate you for tapping in. Good morning, Steven. It says happy New Year's. That's a dope Commanders hat. I gotta keep the hope alive with the Commanders, man. At least for next year. Good morning, Double. Happy New Year's to you as well. Good morning, Rick. Says gotta stay ready to keep from getting ready. That's a fact. Morning, hustlers. Let's get into it for today then. So first up, we'll start with JaXon, AI sports betting tool. Linked in the description as it always is. JaXon didn't have any. I didn't give you guys any looks yesterday. But JaXon liked Detroit minus the 1.5. Well, actually, yeah, no. So JaXon had Denver plus the 6.5 on Wednesday, and that was a winner against Toronto. They won the game outright by 3. And they had Golden State and Charlotte under the 233.5, and Golden State decided to play no defense in that game. Bunch of 3-point shots being made. The total did go over the 2. I think the total reached like 260. So 1-1 day for JaXon on Wednesday. Nothing yesterday. As far as today goes, JaXon, couple spreads that JaXon likes. The first one is I guess a little obvious, which is why I'm gonna stay off of it. But it's the Oklahoma City Thunder minus the 8.5 against the Golden State Warriors today. So it says I'm back in the Oklahoma City Thunder minus the 8.5 as a premier spread for today. The Thunder are currently the most dominant team in the NBA according to efficiency metrics, and they face a Golden State Warriors squad that is severely shorthanded and struggling with ball security. Recent performance and season trends: the Thunder are coming off a massive 124 to 95 blowout victory and have maintained a staggering plus 15.7 point differential this season, ranking number 1 in the NBA. The net rating of 14.2 is also the best in the league by a wide margin. Conversely, the Warriors have been inconsistent, posting an 8-6 record over the last 14 games. While they have shown some slight improvement, they remain 18th at offensive rating and are plagued by turnovers, ranking 2nd in the league in total giveaways. So matchup analysis and news. So the matchup presents a statistical nightmare for Golden State. The Thunder ranked number 1 in defensive rating at 104.5. First in turnover percentage allowed at 18.3. They are elite at forcing mistakes, which is the Warriors' primary weakness. Golden State is 5-13 this season when they have more turnovers than their opponent. Furthermore, the Warriors' injury report is devastating. Draymond Green is out. Steph Curry is listed as day-to-day with a quad contusion. Without Green's defensive anchoring, and Curry's gravity, the Warriors' 21st ranked scoring offense, 15.6 points per game, will likely crater against the league's best defense. The Thunder are relatively healthy, though they will be without Isaiah Hartenstein and Nikola Topic. So that's the first look. Thunder minus the 8.5. And the second one is on the San Antonio Spurs and the Indiana Pacers under the 238.5. So it says the total bet for today is under 238.5 in the matchup between the San Antonio Spurs and Indiana Pacers. This line is significantly inflated based on the current personnel available for both teams, as both squads are missing their primary offensive engines. So the Pacers have been the worst offense in the NBA this season, posting an offensive rating of just 107.9, which is 30th. They also rank dead last in effective field goal percentage at 50.6. San Antonio Spurs have been much better, 6th in offensive rating, but that success is heavily tied to Victor Wembanyama, who's ruled out of this contest due to a knee injury. So matchup analysis and news. The news for this game is centered entirely on the out list. San Antonio will be without Wembanyama, 11.6 rebounds, and Devin Vassell. Indiana is even more depleted, missing Tyrese Halliburton, Obi Toppin, and Isaiah Jackson. Without Halliburton, the Pacers lack the playmaking to exploit average defenses. Without Wembanyama, the Spurs lose their primary scoring threat and focal point of their transition game. While the Spurs defense might take a slight hit with Wembanyama's rim protection, the Pacers rank 30th in effective field goal percentage, suggests they won't have the firepower to take advantage. Additionally, the Spurs rank first in defensive rebound percentage, 71.9, which will limit the second chance opportunities for an already struggling Indiana offense. So those are the two looks for JaXon today. Link is in the description as always if you guys are interested in finding more information about JaXon in general, using it to handicap other plays, other sides, totals, whatever the case might be. All right, so let's jump into it, man. First game up is that game between the Spurs and the Pacers. So if I get to my notes real quick and an updated injury report, we have Victor Wembanyama ruled out. We talked about that already. Also, so that's two players that are going to be missing in this one on the San Antonio side. On the Indiana side, TJ McConnell's listed as probable, and then no Isaiah Jackson, no Obi Toppin, and of course no Tyrese Halliburton. So the San Antonio Spurs coming to this game, they have covered 7 of their last 10, but I don't really like the spot as much for them here. It is, first off, they're coming off a big win, so it could be a little bit of a letdown spot. They beat the Knicks in that cup revenge game. Without Wemby on the road, first leg of a back-to-back, they got in a non-conference game against the Indiana Pacers. They got a conference game tomorrow against the Portland Trail Blazers, which I think they may take that one a little bit more serious. Indiana on the other side of things have not been great. We know that they've been really bad. 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. It is the second straight home game, and they did cover. They had a chance to win that game against Orlando outright. So you saw a much better effort, specifically on the defensive end. Now, will they be able to stay in front of San Antonio? I kind of like the matchup for the Pacers in this spot. San Antonio is a team that likes to shoot a lot of threes, especially when Wemby's not there. And if they're going to be shooting threes, the Pacers defense, if they have any, pulse of a defense, it is that they take away three-point shots. So it doesn't really set up really, really well. This spread opened at 5.5. It's moving up to 6.5. Contrarian look for me would be Pacers, maybe even early. I feel like they've been covering some first half. So Pacers first half maybe is what I would play in this one. I think the Pacers can keep this game close without Devin Vassell and Victor Wembanyama. So that's my thought process. What I did end up betting in this game, though, was I took Luke Kornet over his 8.5 points. So real quick, if we just transition over to, let's see. Let this load. Okay. So we transition over to the outlier really quickly, and just make myself small. So we go here, we type in Kornet. It's strictly based off matchup, right? So I just talked about how the Pacers are a good team as far as running teams off the three-point line. What they don't do a good job of is giving up points, to players that find their way, via right down the lane. So if you look at games without Victor Wembanyama, it's not even something that's going to really jump off this page to you. You can see Luke Cornett. He is actually up to 9.5 now. And you see he's gone under the games so far this season. These are the last 10. But if we just look at the full season, only over in 3 of his 11 games, you can see that he's only averaging 6.8 points. But Luke Cornett is somebody that gets all his points in the paint. When I say all, I mean like 98% of his points. He probably gets 2% from the free throw line. So 98% of his points come from 10 feet or less from the basket. Indiana is 24th as far as defense against the center, against points given up, within 10 feet of the basket. So I love that. It's a great matchup for him to, be the pick and roll man with Stephon Castle, even with Dylan Harper. And he'll also, probably get to the free throw line. The Pacers do foul a lot and get some putback opportunities because the Pacers they're not a great rebounding team either. And I consider his rebounds as well. So this is what I ended up betting was Luke Cornett today to start things off as far as player props go. So Luke Cornett, for me, I'm on his over in this spot. I also consider, and this is why I got this up, I consider Stephon Castle and Keldon Johnson, and it's pretty much the same. I consider their rebound props. So Stephon Castle hasn't been getting boards recently. If we go here, we look at his rebound prop. It's listed at 5.5. It was minus 117 last night, and you can see that he's under actually in what is this, 8 straight games? So 8 straight games he's gone under, which makes you think, why is it listed at 5.5 if he hasn't gotten to 5.5? And it's because the Pacers are a bad rebounding team. You can see this, they're 29th in rebounds allowed. In the 2 full games, you can look at here without Victor Wembanyama. So if we go here, we add filter without Victor Wembanyama, and we go to this season, you can see that he's only played 3 games. This was the game that he got hurt. So in the other 2 games without Victor Wembanyama, you can see his rebound chances, right? 11 and 14 here. So in games this season where Stephon Castle has had, just 9 rebound chances, he's actually over in 9 of his 14 games, averaging 6.4 rebounds. So this is something that's still on my short list. You can see that they moved the 5.5 to, well, here is plus money. But I consider Stephon Castle, and very, very similar to that would be Keldon Johnson. He's probably their best rebounder outside of Victor Wembanyama. So if Victor's not going to be there, you would expect him to be out there. The thing that I consider the reason why it's not an official play, because I want to figure out how they're going to match up. If he's going to be guarding Pascal Siakam, they'll probably pull him away from the rim, and I don't really like the rebounds as much in that instance. But if we go here, we look at games without Victor Wembanyama, his rebounds specifically, we can see that the 6.5 number in the this season, he's averaging right at 7.42, and he's over in 8 of his 12 games this season without Victor Wembanyama being there. So Keldon Johnson boards, Stephon Castle boards, I think those make a ton of sense in this spot. I didn't bet either one. I just played Luke Cornett. I think that's what I like a little bit more than anything else. Well, I know that's what I like. So that's my thought process from this first game. Maybe Pacers early. I do kind of like the fight that I saw with them in the first half, in the full game in that last one. So that's my thought process there. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. Good morning, Lightbearer. Appreciate you for tapping in as always. Happy New Year, Big Dog. Good morning, Adam. Brian says Spurs have a little revenge from Paris. They might put that into tonight. I don't know about that. I remember that Paris game last season, though. Keldon Johnson, I do like. Adam. Happy New Year, Tommy. Let's see. Y'all let me know if I'm having audio problems. Jay Hank says. I don't think I am, but let me know. I don't see anybody else saying anything about it. Taylor likes De'Aaron Fox over his 23.5 points. Says he get 27% via the pick and roll ball handler. He's dominated versus bad pick and roll defenses. Teams ranked 20th or worse versus the pick and roll ball handler. He's over in 8 of his 10 games, averaging 26. Okay. Dom says Carlisle been trying to get that 1,000 win for years, it seems. That's a fact. That's a fact. It's gonna come sooner or later. Happy New Year, Chicago. Appreciate you for tapping in. Double says so unlike Castle under his boards. I don't like Castle under his boards. I think Castle can have a big rebounding game in this spot. So it's only over for me with Castle. So you got Luke Cornett over points and rebounds. I got Luke Cornett over his points at 8.5. The line has, when I woke up this morning, I sent this out to the members last night. The line had moved to 9.5. I still like it at 9.5 as well. I think it's a double-digit scoring game for Luke Cornett tonight. Tommy says, Chris, why are you not looking at Castle points since there's no Wemby or Vassell? It's not even necessarily that I'm not looking at it. I just like the rebound angle a little bit better. Not that he can't go ahead and score the basketball. I think that he can, and he probably will. He'll have to get inside the paint. I think that's where I started my handicap was Castle over his points, but the rebounds to me made more sense. It doesn't mean that he can get his rebounds. I mean, he can get his points. I just like the rebounds more. Appreciate you, Vario. Everything, Castle, everything, and Keldon rebounds. So Chicago agrees. All right, let's move over to the next game. The next game is the Magic and the Bulls. Bulls are getting 5 as a home dog today against the Orlando Magic. And we look at the injury report in this one. The Orlando Magic will be, let me just double check. I feel like nothing popped up yesterday. Orlando Magic have Jonathan Isaac listed as questionable. No Mo, of course, no Franz, but Jalen Suggs is back. And that's big for the Orlando Magic. The Chicago Bulls will be without Zach Collins. No Josh Giddey, no Kobe White either. And Chicago's coming off a big win, right? They lost the game that Kobe White and Josh Giddey got hurt against Minnesota in. And then they lost that game by 35 points. I think they bounced back in a big way against New Orleans the other day. And Orlando, not a team that I'm interested in laying too many points with. A little bit conflicted because Orlando's been shorthanded without Jalen Suggs. His first game back should be big, in my opinion. With their backcourt depth, Orlando's offense has been so atrocious. Now, with Jalen Suggs coming back, you would think that the offense would get better. The defense should get better as well. And I guess that's the way I'm looking at it. I don't really want to lay too many points with Orlando on the road. I think it would be Chicago by default in this game. If I look, with what Chicago was able to do. Now, granted, they were playing a Pelicans defense that's absolutely night and day, difference between this Orlando team. But the spot for Orlando, it's the last of a 3-game road trip. They haven't won by margin. I was going through their game logs. They haven't won a game by, when I say margin, I just mean 2 possessions. They haven't won a game by possession in like 3 weeks. It was December 9th when they beat the Miami Heat by 9. That was the last time they won a game. So, they haven't been covering at all. You look at their, most recent games, they, barely won against Toronto, didn't cover that game. Well, they did cover that game because I think they were laying 1. But the game against the Indiana Pacers, they didn't cover, barely won that one. So I think this line probably fairly priced, but I would be looking at Chicago before I'm laying with Orlando, even with Jalen Suggs. First game back. He could be a bit rusty, I think, or Chicago could be able to keep this game close. As far as the total, we've seen this one come down. I think it opened like 241.5, and it's come down to, 235.5 now. You also got a Chicago team that's playing 5th straight home game, first leg of a back-to-back against Charlotte that comes to town. I think it's hard for me to get to under, but under in this game makes a lot of sense. The total just fell a little bit too much in my opinion. And as far as player props in this one, there's not a lot to like in my opinion. I guess there's a lot of opportunity. I'm not sure who's going to be able to take advantage for the Chicago team. Like last game, I think somebody mentioned, I think it was Shadow mentioned Trey Jones' assist at 7.5. That was a beautiful look. He finished with 12. Now he gets a much better defense on the Orlando side of things. So I think I'll probably be, off of the player props for Chicago, even though there will be ample opportunities in for these teams. Also, the last thing I want to mention, I think Chicago's now 14-3 as a home dog ATS. So they've been really, really good in this role. And Orlando has not been covering as much on the road. They only 8-9 straight up on the road, 7-10 against the spread. So Chicago plus the points, even though they did cover it and win in that last game, don't want to be a day late. and $1 short messing around with the Bulls. But as a home dog this season, just want to confirm. As a home dog, they're 6-2, but as a dog in general, they are 13-4. That's what I thought they were. So that's that look. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. Jeremy Sohan can't get minutes now. Yeah, that's a fact. He just be sitting on the bench chilling. Tommy says, "Man, I'm on the Bulls. I don't like it. I don't like it without Giddy. But Bulls are solid at home. I don't trust the Magic on the road." And that's a fact. I agree with that. So Magic, if they're laying points on the road, they're 4-6 against the number. They win by about 5 points, which is where this line is. But they're 1-3 against the number in their last 4 games on the road. And typically it's their offense. They really struggle to score when they're laying points on the road. 3 straight unders in their last 3 games. Getting Jalen Suggs back should help, though. There's no Kobe either. No Kobe either. Anthony Black has been hooping, Mario. That's a fact. Tyler says all those injured Bulls, I still wouldn't take Orlando. That's a fact. Montreal been playing horrible. He had a big game, I think, in his last one. But yeah, I agree with that. Dropping down says Wendell Carter props might be in play. He gets up for the Bulls after they traded him. That's a fact. Pretty much every single time. What's up, B-Hop? Says Happy New Year. Chicago plus 5.5. They owe me for their Pelicans game. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to try to get my money back with them tonight. But that's the way that I would bet if I'm betting this one. All right, let's get to another game that I actually do have a bet on. Before I do that, do me a quick favor. Hit the like button if you can, especially if you're somebody that typically does. Helps out the show, helps out the algorithm, all that good stuff. Appreciate you guys as always, and let's keep going. So Denver and Cleveland. This one's interesting to me, man. So I'm looking through it yesterday, and I see this line open for Cleveland. I think it opened like 11 or 10 or something like that. And then it gets popped to 12, 12.5, 13. And I think that's where it sits right now. Let me just double check real quick. Make sure it hasn't moved. Yeah, so it's still 13, 13.5. But the more interesting thing is the total. So 235.5 is where it opened up at. And I was actually expecting this to go down. I wasn't expecting it to go up. I know that Cleveland wants to play super fast, and I know that Denver did not play fast in that last game. So if for people that have been living underneath a rock, we know that Denver will be extremely short-handed outside of the 4 starters that out for the Denver Nuggets, including Nikola Jokic, the newest addition. Now they're going to be without Valanciunas as well. Valanciunas is hurt. Looks like they're going to be starting Deron Holmes, who played second half minutes against the Denver Nuggets against the Toronto Raptors in that last game. So Jamal Murray is listed as probable. Looks like Julian Strawther is listed as probable, but there's no Christian Braun, there's no Aaron Gordon, there's no Kim Johnson, no Jokic, no Valanciunas. On the Cleveland side of things, DeAndre Hunter, who missed the last game, is questionable. Sam Merrill is listed as questionable as well. No Max Strus, no Larry Nance Jr. So for Denver, it is a really, really tough travel spot. This is their 4th straight road game of a 7-game road trip. They did beat Toronto in that last game without Jokic, but now there's no Val. And I looked into that game that Denver played against Toronto. That was the 6th slowest paced game that Denver has played. And I know Cleveland is a night and day different offense than the Toronto Raptors, but I still think that this total is too high. So on the Cleveland side of things, they have not been great. We know that covering spreads, no matter their home favorite, road, whatever the case might be. But they only 6-14 against the number, but they're 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games. They do host Detroit on Sunday, so potential look ahead spot, especially with Detroit being the best team in the Eastern Conference. It doesn't make me really want to lay points with Cleveland in this spot, but I was thinking either I guess they should be able to score. It should be a little bit of a track meet type of game when you think about it. But I don't think that Denver's going to play as fast as Cleveland wants to. So I think Denver team total under. Yesterday I wrote it in my notes. It was 111.5, but it's actually up. It's up to 113.5 now. And I think that's just because the full game total continues to get pushed up. If I just double check real quick, I think when I looked this morning, it was 113.5. Let me just double check. Denver team total is 113.5, man. That's a lot of points to get to with this offense that you have. I just think that, especially if DeAndre Hunter's there, Cleveland is a lot healthier now. So you got Jared Allen, and Evan Mobley down there to anchor. I'm not sure that Denver gets a bunch of second chance opportunities. I'm not sure that they get out and run as they typically do. And then I also looked into this. So fun fact, since the start of the 2023-2024 season, Denver's actually 6-1 against the spread as road dogs without Jokic, and they've never given up more than 111 points, which is crazy. Now, Cleveland, will they need to score 128 in this game? I'm not sure that they will. Can they? Absolutely, against this Denver team, but I think the total is a tad bit too high. I think I will buck this and go under in this game. Denver team total under, maybe even a full game under, because Denver will try to slow the pace down if they're able to, stay within this game. But yeah, Peyton Watson and Spencer Jones and Jamal Murray not going to be enough, in my opinion. Denver only played 8 players in that last game. So team total under, full game under, just is my opinion here. I'm not betting on Cleveland to score 128 points. That's a little bit too rich for my liking. Let's see. What are you guys thinking? Chris says, I like the AO over rebounds and assists. Cash easy last game. Okay. Ryan says Cleveland team total over. Not for me. He says that's a little too high. Ryan says Nuggets got to keep it. Keep it in the road until Jokic gets back. It's gonna be big though to try to do that. Some of these games I think they're gonna lay down, in my opinion. You're not gonna cover every single spread without Jokic. They got a big win in that last one. Chris says, what bigs are keeping Mobley and Allen off the boards? One of them getting a double-double. That's a fact. It's no bigs for Denver. Like, it's literally no bigs. Peyton Watson and DeRon Holmes. What's up, Nayeli? Happy New Year to you. She says, I'm doing Cavs money line and over the 240 parlay, following sharp money. Okay. What up, Helms? Happy New Year to you as well, my brother. Ryan says Murray points. He had a tough shoot night against Toronto. Bounce back. I was on him and lost. I think I was looking. So the numbers, these player props weren't available last night. I was actually looking at who I could fade for the Denver side of things. The way I see it is, if this game turns to a blowout, like, they may not even be out there. Jamal Murray's listed at 27.5. Like I said, this wasn't available last night. I spent a lot of time on this card, and his player props weren't available last night. I think it's going to be difficult. Not that he can't do it. I just think that now you put all the pressure on him, you're going to make somebody else beat you. So I'll probably be looking at Jamal Murray assists before I'm looking at his points. Let's see. 53% of his points come via pull-up. Cleveland is in the better half of the league there. He also scores 32% of his points via pick and roll ball handler, and Cleveland's actually third in fewest points given up there. I just think the usage is going to be too high. I would be looking to fade Jamal Murray. His assists at 7.5. I would probably be looking to fade that as well. He did have 18 against the Toronto Raptors the other day, though. I'm speculating now. All right, let's move over to the next game. I think the total is a tad bit too high, especially for the Denver side of things. I just think that they're going to struggle to get this 3 points. Next game is in the Sun. They bet this one last night. So Sacramento was laying 11 when I first saw the number. I'm sorry, Phoenix was laying 11 when I first saw the number. So this is more a situational spot, right, where we just look at the injury report on the Phoenix side of things. Grayson Allen is listed as questionable, but the Sacramento Kings could potentially rule people out. Zach LaVine, there's no update. I listened to Doug Christie's pre-game interview yesterday. He says no update or timetable for Zach LaVine to return, and of course no Sabonis. These are just the injuries from yesterday. Now, of course, this could change. Sacramento could add people to the injury report because it's a terrible spot. It's 5th game in 7 nights with travel for them. And they did exactly what I wanted them to do last night as well. I played this before because the line had already started to move. And they're going to either blow them out or the Suns are either going to blow them out or it's going to be a super close game and on it, being a blowout. So real quick, if I just go back here, I already gave you guys the situation spot. But if I go back here and I look at the box score, the Kings did exactly what I wanted them to do as far as like keeping that game close last night. It wasn't until they didn't lose the game into the fourth quarter. It went into the game tied in the fourth quarter. Ended up getting outscored by 14 to the Celtics, which was perfect because Keegan Murray played 38 minutes. Russell Westbrook played 27. DeRozan played 35. Like, it was perfect. Schroeder played 28 off the bench. Keon Ellis played 27. It was perfect. It's exactly what I wanted to happen. So now, with travel, it sets up. It's a really bad spot, and it's a terrible little situational spot because they were on a 2-game road trip, came home for 1 game, and then they're right back on the road. This is not a good team as far as ATS on the road in general. 7-10-1 against the number. And you got a Phoenix team that is the best ATS team in the league. 10-4-1 against the spread at home. 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games. They're coming off the loss to Cleveland, so they should be a little motivated in this spot. It is their first game back after a 4-game road trip, but I still think that they run away with this game. They had actually won 4 in a row and covered 6 in a row before they ran into Cleveland at the end of that road trip on Tuesday night. So, was that Wednesday night? Wednesday night or Tuesday night, whenever they played. So, yeah, I did bet Sacramento. I did bet Phoenix. I got Phoenix minus 11.5 last night is what we got. And I think this is moved to 12. You still can get – hold on. Let me just double check. It's moved to 12.5, 13 now. Like I said, they're either going to win by 15 plus, in my opinion, or the game's just going to be close. So we shall see. We shall see what happens here. Let's see what you guys are thinking on this one. And I didn't look at the player props on this one. The Sacramento stuff is starting to come down. And of course, I got to agree with that because I think that they will be a team that runs out of gas. I mean, you scored 106 points last night. Now it's fifth game in 7 nights on the second leg of a back-to-back. So I guess the alternative look would be towards their team total under at 107.5, but I didn't get there. That is a super low number. I don't think that they're going to be able to make too many shots. Phoenix should win this game with their defense, in my opinion. God is my boss says Dylan Brooks points, rebounds, and assists. Double says I hate the way Booker's playing this year. What's the best way to go with his props? I would have to look at the matchup specifically, Double. But the other thing I wanted to mention is Phoenix. They took care of Sacramento the first 2 times that they played earlier this season. This just made me think. So I would go back, and that's where I would start my handicap. But I didn't want to bet on this on this game. This is my favorite spread bet of the day. When these 2 teams played earlier this season, they played twice. Phoenix won by 4, and they got a push on a -4 in Phoenix. And then in Sacramento, Phoenix won 112 to 110 as well. So they had a 12-point win back on November the 26th game, day after Thanksgiving as well. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. Gillespie over his points and over his assists, Chicago says. Royce for LJ. Thinks he gets 10. Hit this number in 12 of his 13 games at home versus the West. Okay. Nally says Suns minus 12.5 and under 227. Okay. All right, cool. Let's go to the next one. One more I'll go through, and then I'll give you guys my notes. But actually, is this the fourth one? Yeah, it is the fourth one. All right, let's go through look through the games. So ones that we didn't talk about was Brooklyn, Washington. The reason why is because MPJ is listed as we don't know his injury status for this game. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind is I would want to know what's going on with MPJ. He missed the game yesterday, of course. Cam Thomas most likely to rest on the second leg of a back-to-back. And Keyshawn George is out for the Washington Wizards. So Brooklyn is on the second leg of a back-to-back with travel from home road travel to DC. Back-to-back losses, back-to-back non-covers against Golden State and Houston. And then the Washington side of things, they've actually covered 3 of their last 4 games, 6 of their last 10 spreads they've covered. They beat Milwaukee outright as a double-digit dog 2 nights ago in Milwaukee, and they played in 3 straight under. So a little bit of defense actually being played on the Washington side of things. Brooklyn did win the earlier matchup, 129 to 106 in Washington as a 3-point dog. None of that means anything, in my opinion, without knowing the status of Michael Porter Jr. in this game. Also, we got to keep in mind, right, from a narrative perspective, like a news perspective, you got to know what's going on. We know that this Brooklyn team, already thinking they're winning too many games. We know how good their defense has been. All of a sudden, they rule out Michael Porter. I think you got to take all that into consideration when you're betting this game. Like, is this a time that they want to win games? It feels like Washington is the team that wants to win games right now, but we know really neither one of these teams wants to win games. So All that being said, I thought about a player prop. The one that came to mind to me was CJ McCollum assists. Just the way that Brooklyn plays defense. Durant finished with 10 assists last night. I did have a lean to him over his 5.5 assists. He crushed the number, and that's just the way Brooklyn plays defense. They take away your primary ball handler, but you can get some assists. And with Keyshawn George not being there, it should be a little bit more usage for somebody like CJ McCollum. So CJ McCollum over his assist prop would be a way that I would look. He did hit that game winner the other day as well. So kind of in his bag right now, and he's trying to get his trade stock up as well. CJ McCollum over his assists. Atlanta, New York. So Trae Young, questionable. Mitchell Robinson, questionable. I think Josh Hart continues to be out as well on the New York side of things. And Atlanta got a big win. They needed that win in their last game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So yeah, only Trae Young's on the injury report, which means that Porzingis will probably continue to play off the bench. And Landry Shamet is out. So my thought process in this game is Atlanta has 3 straight covers after not covering 7 in a row. It is the first leg of a back-to-back. They got a game in Toronto tomorrow. The Knicks have been great at home, 14-3 against the number, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games. It is their first game back home after a 3-game road trip, and they got the 76ers coming to town tomorrow. And you also got the quick revenge for Atlanta. New York just beat them on last week. And they only beat them by 3. So the Atlanta actually started their covering streak, I think, against the New York Knicks. That game did go over. It was 244.5 was the total. Finished at 253.5. And this total is higher. So typically that would lead itself to an over. The problem I'm having here is Porzingis is back, which adds a little bit of rim protection. If you don't have Mitchell Robinson out there, that's a little bit of a rebounding disadvantage for the New York Knicks. I don't know. And then the Atlanta Hawks, you really want to know what's going to happen with Trae Young because they've covered games without Trae Young. I feel like every single one of them. And then when Trae Young has played, they have been atrocious, especially on the defensive end. So definitely got to wait, in my opinion, on that game to see if Trae Young is going to play. Because the defense, I mean, it gets so much worse with him on the floor. The offense gets a lot better. Offense actually not even getting that much better. Jalen Suggs has been somebody that's been a thorn in the New York Knicks side as well. So maybe a look at his props. What else? Portland and New Orleans. Jeremy Grant is listed as out. Sadiq Bey is, let me just make sure that's all. Yeah, so Jeremy Grant, Scoot Henderson, and Drew Holiday are all out. Matisse Thybulle is out as well. New Orleans has Derek Queen listed as questionable and Sadiq Bey listed as questionable. No Herb Jones as well. So Portland, first leg of a back-to-back. They play the Spurs in San Antonio tomorrow. They're coming off a 29-point loss against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And they're only 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 games. And this is probably why, this line is teetering right at a pick 'em. Portland opened this game as 1.5-point favorites. So for New Orleans, 5 straight losses, 5 straight non-covers. I did read that Borrego said after their last loss in Chicago that they have to play some defense. You gave up 30 points every single quarter. You do got to play some defense. You can't give up 130 against Chicago Bulls. Now they're home as a home dog. This has been their role. They've been profitable in this spot. Don't know if I'm going to get there with them, especially without Derek Queen. The one thing that makes a ton of sense, in my opinion, also, this is their matchup. Both games are going over the total. Both teams have won one, so they split so far. The thing that makes the most sense, in my opinion, and I did bet this right before the show started. I still haven't sent it out to the members because I wanted to send it right out with it. Is Denny Avdia. I bet him over his rebounds and assists in this game. So line I thought was going to come out at, this also wasn't available last night. I thought it was going to come out at like 13.5, 14.5. It's actually 16.5, and I'm still comfortable with that. I think Denny Avdia crushes this number. So he's over. I initially started with his assists at 6.5. He's over in 11 of his 13 games where he has had at least 16 potential assists. And in that last game against New Orleans, he finished with 16 potential assists. And the other thing is Drew Holiday. 22 games without Drew Holiday. He's over in 17, averaging 8.1 assists. Pelicans allowed the second most assists in the league, and they're aggressive against primary scorers. They'll probably try to trap him, which is why he went under his points prop in the last game. And then you add in his rebounds. So Pelicans are bottom 10 in rebounds allowed as well. Then he had 15 rebound chances in that last game, but he only managed to get 6 against the New Orleans Pelicans. I think the conversion rate is higher in this game, especially if Derek Queen doesn't play. With just 13 rebound chances or more, he's over in 17 of 22 games this season and over in 6 straight. So you combine those rebounds and assists together, you get the idea to pull down. I mean, it could be a triple-double type game, but over his 16 and a half rebounds and assists makes a lot of sense. And I did end up betting that one as well. And that's my thought process on that one. Orlando, Chicago, we went over Charlotte and Milwaukee. So Diabate is listed as questionable. There's no Ryan Kalkbrenner. And then, of course, Plumlee's out for an extended period of time. This could be the track meet type game right here. Bridges missed one game against the Warriors with that ankle injury or calf injury. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but he is listed as probable to return in this game. And then on the Bucks side of things, they will be fully healthy outside of Taurean Prince. Coming off the loss as the double-digit favorite to the Wizards, I think it's Bucks and nothing for me in this spot. I think it's just a nice bounce back spot. They just beat Charlotte. I think they beat them by 6 when they were in Milwaukee. When they were in Charlotte a couple games ago. We were on them in that spot. We took the money line. We won the game pretty comfortably. I just really think about this game, and I think, all right, if Diabate got to play, right? I know he's listed as questionable. I kind of feel like he has to play. If he doesn't play, that's 3 centers that they're without against Giannis. Good luck. We talked about Giannis over his 5.5 assists last game. It was minus 145. When I looked at it last night, it was already juiced to like minus 160. So that's unplayable for me. Kevin Porter Jr., his assist prop is something that intrigues me. Charlotte has just been a really, really bad defense. They've given up 120 points in the last 2 games. I don't think it's going to get any easier here for them. With Giannis probably in the Milwaukee Bucks being a little peed off after losing to Washington in the seat and the way that their season has kind of gone and them needing all the wins that they can get. So I'll be looking at Milwaukee. The spread in this one was I wrote down 5.5 last night. It looks like it's moved, I think, in their favor, probably to 6. And it's 6. Yeah, 6 is now. I know Charlotte can be feisty on the road, but they have not been great defensively recently. They've been really giving it up. So probably a look towards the Bucks in that game, but I didn't bet it. And I think that is the last one, right? Oh, yeah, I didn't touch OKC and Golden State. The line opened at 7. It's up to 9 now. No Isaiah Hartenstein. Draymond Green is listed as out. Steph is listed as questionable. It is the first leg of a back-to-back for the Golden State Warriors. They play in Utah tomorrow, so maybe they have that game circled to win and this one to lose. And it's their first game back on the West Coast after that 3-game East Coast road trip as well. OKC first game on the road after 4 straight home games. They are on a 3-game winning streak. They've covered 2 of those 3. I think that they could still be a little bit shorthanded in this game. Yeah, because it's Hardenstein, Williams. They have everybody else, though. I kind of think, especially if Steph doesn't play, I would take OKC team total over. I just think that they'll be able to get out, run in transition. I like what JaXon said about Golden State turning the ball over a lot. Just don't want to get to the worst of the number. Like I said, this was at 7. It's all the way up to, 9.5 now? OKC, if they don't cover, it's typically on the road. They find a way not to cover on the road. So team total, I think they could get there, though. Like, I think they should be able to score. That's my thought process there. Didn't really look too deeply into it. And then Memphis and LA lean. So Jalen Wells is listed as questionable. Ja is in there. KCP is questionable. There's no Brandon Clark, Zach Edey, Ty Jerome, John Contra, of course. But I think they do have they don't have Jock Landale on the injury report. So he should be in. On the Lakers side of things, Jared Vanderbilt's listed as questionable. No Rui, no Austin Reeves, no Gabe Vincent. The Lakers, 4 straight home game coming off a beat down against Detroit. Memphis, back-to-back losses and non-covers for them. Lakers they did beat Memphis in Memphis early this season. They had Reeves and Luka in that game and no Bron. And now they have Bron and Luka and no Reeves. Lakers have actually beat Memphis 4 straight times in a row, though. So I think that dates back to last season as well. So the way I kind of think about this game is don't really want to lay points with the Lakers. This line has come down to, well, it looks like it's still about 4, which is where it had been. This is a little bit too difficult of a game, in my opinion. As far as side and total goes, the Lakers' offense has been atrocious. They're the worst offensive rated team over the last 5 games. Now, with that being said, I'm not inspired to go take an under against the Memphis Grizzlies because defensively they've been really, really bad recently. The Lakers have also they've taken the air out the ball. They're playing at the 3rd slowest pace over the last 5 games. And then on the Memphis side of things, they're second in pace over the last 5 games. So if it depends on who's going to dictate pace. If Memphis comes in here and plays fast, I think this is an over spot. But I think the total set about where it should be based on the Lakers' pace. Hopefully that makes sense. The Lakers have been playing so slow, and you need to be efficient. They have not been efficient, to get up and over this for this total to go up and over, in my opinion. From a player prop perspective, Bron rebounds and assists was at 12.5 last night. He's just been really, really bad. I think he's only over in like a couple games out of the ones that he's played so far this season. Just not getting a lot of boards, not getting a lot of assists. So I consider him to go under there. He should be in a pretty good matchup with probably Santi Aldama or Jock Landale. Just not really sure what Bron wants to do out there at this stage of his career. Maybe his points, I guess, in my opinion. But the rebounds and assists is something that's not happened recently. Let's see real quick. I'll go through the comments and then I'm getting out of here. Kings team total under. Rhino says they're not a good team. Free DeMar DeRozan. Claxton over his points. Yeah, that could be a good look. Could be some Danny Wolf props as well. You need a 3-point shooter, somebody like Noah Clowney against the Washington Wizards. Appreciate you, my new money. Says been a member for 11 months. Appreciate that. Just went over my thoughts here. Ice Trey always do his thing in Madison Square Garden. I'm gonna take Atlanta. What's up, BMC? Appreciate you for tapping in. Let's see. I took the Suns team total over. Couldn't talk you off, Tommy. Could not talk you off. Taylor says, Chris, I saw that the Pels defensive rating without Herb Jones on the floor is laughably bad. Any thoughts on that? And any take on Portland possibly or the team total? I think when I looked at it last night, Taylor, I was thinking over and nothing. I think I wrote in my notes that both games have gone over the total so far. And I don't know, man. The thing about the Pelicans, granted, I just bet over. We know Portland only wants to play with pace. If I look at Portland last 5 games, I think they're top 5 in pace. Offensively, they really struggled. It's a lot to carry out there for Shaedon Sharpe, and they got rookies out there that's trying to score the basketball as well. Let me just look at the numbers. Their offense failed them, but that was because they were playing against OKC in that last game. New Orleans, in my opinion, I don't think they're going to play any defense. New Orleans is let me just get this pulled up real quick. New Orleans is so Portland is their worst rated team over the last 5 games. New Orleans reverted back to being 9th worst offensive rated team. But both teams still play really fast. Portland is 6th in pace on the road. New Orleans is 6th in pace in their last 5 games. Defensively, they're 27th in efficiency, allowing 128 points per game, which is the second most over their last 5 games. This is the Pelicans. Portland, should be able to get stops, but on the road, I don't really like taking Portland on the road. They actually get outscored by about 6 points per game, and their efficiency differential is 22nd. So that doesn't make me want to back them here. The Pelicans, I feel like when they cover, it's typically early in games. So, it makes sense that they want to put together a good first half effort, in my opinion, just because of the way things happened in that last game against Chicago. They never had the lead. They were down at the end of the first quarter, in halftime, in the third quarter. So as a home dog, I feel like New Orleans has been really, really good early in games. But I can't trust them the way that they've been playing defense as of late. Like, I just be going on a limb and just betting on a trend, and I don't want to do that. But let me give you the numbers real quick. So the Pelicans as a home dog are actually not even that great. They're 9-10 against the number. The Blazers as a road favorite in the first half are 4-3 against the number. Only 2-4-1 against the spread, though. And if it's first leg of a back-to-back, the Blazers are 1-5 against the number as well. For some reason, the Blazers play so great on the second leg of a back-to-back. They're 5-2 against the spread. In the first half, 6-1 overall. But on the first leg of a back-to-back, not as good. They just play better on the second leg of a back-to-back for whatever reason. I thought that the Pelicans were better than that in the first half. They are not that great. They're 13-6 to the over as a home dog. Blazers are 6-1 to the over as a road favorite. So if the trends are right, we'll see this game go over the total. Let's see. What about Giannis assists? We talked about that already. They're gonna have to double. I like this look by Rhino too. So Bobby Portis points are a good look. Yeah, Bobby Portis could live in the paint in this game. OKC first quarter. Warriors worst team in the NBA in the first quarter. LJ says they have been really, really bad. You think Jared Jackson Jr. gets his points? Yeah, against the Lakers. Yeah, absolutely. Lakers been a pretty bad 3-point defense as well. So I agree with that. Yeah, Bron unders is tempting, but Grizzlies give it up. So maybe next game. Dom says I love Bron, but I'm low key over him at this point in my life. He's been in the league my whole adult life. That's a fact. It's a fact. What's up, Don? I appreciate you for tapping in. Idea over his points. Portland guards, not in my opinion, double. I like his rebounds and assists, and I bet it too. Just because I think they'll be aggressive. Not that he can't go out there and get the points. I watched him play that last game as well. He didn't go over his points in that game either. Portland, this is the way that New Orleans Pelicans play defense. They'll be aggressive. Luke Cornett over his 8.5 points. It did move a little bit to 9.5. Phoenix 11.5. We got last night. That moved a little bit as well. Hopefully the CLV means something. Denny over his 16.5 rebounds and assists was something that I did add. I haven't sent this out to the members. It's right before the show started. I don't think it's going to move much. And then Denver team total under is what this should say. It doesn't say under, but under 113.5, I think is I don't see how they're going to get to 113 points, man. Even with the pace, I think it'll be a little bit slower pace of a game. So these are my thoughts. If I had to add anything here, it would be a look towards the Indiana Pacers first half, specifically. I think they can keep that game close against San Antonio with San Antonio down bodies. Yeah, that's probably it. Indiana first half plus 3.5. I think it's maybe even Indiana first quarter as well. Yeah, these are my thoughts on today's slate, man. Best of luck if you guys are tailing any of the action. Resources all linked in the description if you guys are interested in checking them out. Appreciate everybody for tuning in today. Check out JaXon, Outlier, Moneyballer, OddsJam for your sports betting resource tools. And hit the like button on the way out, man. We'll be back tomorrow. Best of luck on your action for today, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I am out.